Welcome to This Week in Hastings Headline History, where we take a look back at what was making news around Hastings and St. Johns County, Florida, over a century ago. These are stories directly out of the pages of the Hastings Herald, which was published weekly in the early 1900s. It's fascinating to hear what they were talking about, as well as how they spoke in their articles from over 100 years ago. So sit back and enjoy, as this week we go back to the stories that were the talk of the town in 1920. This week in 1920, we open up the paper to see an interesting trial was underway, one that would have people talking today in the same kind of way, because a man was arrested and held for what almost everyone thought was a justifiable homicide. Here's the story. During the week just past, local feeling in the matter of the I.R. Thomas trial and its attendant delays has run extremely high. In general, it may be safely said that the people of Hastings have been much incensed over the matter, while in many cases, the feeling has passed that point and has closely approached a high state of anger. To a great extent, the feeling has been caused by the fact Thomas was not admitted to bond after the coroner jury had declared his killing of John F. Clark may have been justifiable homicide. Another sore spot which has been opened is that resulting from statements made in St. Augustine that Thomas was not obliged to shoot in self-defense, that there were no eyewitnesses of the shooting, and that Clark was not as dangerous as he has been represented. According to statements made by Deputy Sheriff J. Smiley, who arrested Thomas, there were several eyewitnesses of the shooting. Also, there were many people willing to testify regarding Clark's threatening attitude throughout the town last Friday evening. In fact, Clark made himself so obnoxious throughout the town during the entire evening that, according to reports, there were several men in town against whom he had made threatening movements early in the evening and were prepared to take the same steps taken by Thomas had Clark approached them again. Reliable local men cite several instances that evening in which Clark drew his knife and threatened men on the street, on one or two occasions actually going so far as to slash them. He is said to have created a disturbance in Dowdy's store, in Flake's garage, and in other places. Immediately before he went to Carter's garage where he was killed, he created a row in McGuffin's barbershop. In fact, reports indicate that Clark ran decidedly amok throughout the town, and the only mystery seems to be that he was allowed to continue his career as long as he did. In other news, progress is made on the theater building. The work of constructing this town's new place of amusement, which will be known as the Casino Theater, is progressing, although not as fast at present as the owners, the Brennan brothers, desire, owing to a delay resulting from the late arrival of necessary lumber. The foundations have been laid, and the little building which formerly occupied the site removed, and other preliminaries accomplished, however. The present plans for the owners call for the completion of the building at about Christmas time. The theater, when completed, will have a seating capacity of about 400, counting the capacity of the main floor and gallery. A high-grade screen will be installed, where the strain on the eyes will be reduced to a minimum. The owners plan to run 3 and perhaps 4 shows a week. One night each week will be devoted to a dance. Circus is coming to Palatka soon. A real 3-ring circus is coming to Palatka with lions and tigers, 2 herds of elephants, tango and shimmy dancing horses, intermingled with human stars, and with troops of clowns to let loose between thrills. The Sparks Circus, which is coming to Palatka, is huge and grand, and new enough to warrant the very highest of praise. Everyone will laugh at the capering clowns, gasp at the feature axe thrower, and the biggest and most daring of the animal acts are the 2 elephant herds, one of which includes the Earth's mightiest monster, Big Zulu, the skyscraper elephant. Back in 1920, the newspaper periodically had a section titled School Notes that talked about what the students in Hastings were doing in class. The School Notes section reads, "The 8th grades are enjoying the study of Irish potatoes in their agriculture, but were very much disappointed to find that Hastings wasn't included among the list of the large potato-growing cities. The 9th graders are very interested in school. In physical geography, We have just completed physiographic provinces of North America, history, Persian, algebra, simple equations. And as we head into the holiday season, how about a few local business advertising jingles that were published in the newspaper? These were written by a local woman, identified as Miss C.R. Clark. Come in and see our holiday line. Old Santa has left here for Christmas time. There's dolls that are large and dolls that are small, new books and games enjoyed by all. There's loads of toys and mechanical things that Christmas cheer to the youngsters bring. Hastings Cooperative Association, dealers in dry goods, notions, hats, clothing, staple groceries. Another one reads, Sap Sanitary Meat Market. If you would serve on Christmas Day the very best of meat, then call Sap's Meat Market for the kind that's fresh and sweet. The shop is known in many homes for many miles around, and quality is the secret of this market's fair renowned. Sap fresh meats, poultry, fancy groceries, vegetables, fruits, candies, etc. Here's another one. All drugstores, friends, are not alike. There is a difference, you know, and folks who are particular will know just where to go. The E.G. Code Drugstore is known to be a store of reputation where when you buy, you can rely on no adulteration. E.G. Co. & Company, Rexall Store. And here's one for the Hastings Cash Store. There be but one shoe if everyone knew the kind that C.C. Mathis has for you. For comfort and style they can't be beat, so why not give your feet a treat? The stock is large and good and new, so if you want an honest shoe, remember the name and you will find C.C. Mathis sells the better kind. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Hastings Headline History. This podcast was brought to you by Presenting the Past, bringing history back to the present through historic presentations and the sale of treasures from days gone by. This episode was written and produced by me, Michelle Murillo, with the aid of vintage copies of the Hastings Herald. Now it's time for a holiday musical memory, where we learn a little more about a Christmas song written centuries ago. This song has been the focus of scholarly debate for years. Part of that debate comes from the placement of a comma. The other part comes from the changes in the use of words over the years. God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen was originally published in 1760, but is believed to have been written perhaps centuries before. And as it has been published over the years, the comma has been put in different places, sometimes after the word Mary, sometimes before it. So what's the difference? The debate of scholars is, if the comma is before the word gentleman, it's telling those involved to rest merry, stay in a state of merriness, telling them how to act. But if the comma is before the word merry, it assumes the men are already merry. But wait, there's more. In some Shakespearean writings, you'll see the phrase, God rest you merry. It was used in the same way we would say, God bless you today. So the song could be a holiday blessing to the gentleman in question. And in some very old publications of the song, that first line is written, Sit yo merry gentlemen, bringing up a whole different debate to the meaning. So which is it? Who knows? The scholars are still debating it. In the meantime, let us just enjoy the song and each decide its meaning for ourselves. Here is a 1917 recording of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen by the Carol Singers.
Christ the Savior was born on Christmas name.